people know how they would feel if they were at their estimated or happy weight. But it's like, I feel like you're not only healthy from the inside out, but you start glowing from the inside out. And that really shows. And I think that should be everyone's motivation, as hard as it is. I also say, like, let's say you have to lose 50 pounds. Like, that's really hard to do, but it's harder doing what we're doing as yo-yo dieting. So 9 months after the first surgery, that I've never had a surgery before, I had this hysterectomy, and in post-op, it ended up in CPR. It's a whole nother story. I'll never know what happened, but I gained 20 pounds from that. And I was stuck with that for a couple of years, and then I would lose 10, gain 10. So thank goodness it didn't keep climbing, but it was kind of the same cycle. And then I came across Lumen, and the first month I used it, I lost 12 pounds. Anything is possible is my mantra. So when you're stuck and you are just like, I don't think I could ever be that or close to that or any of that, not true. Anything is possible. And tracking for sure, prepping your food, and write down your 3 things that you want to achieve and read those. If they're the same every day, or if you change them, it doesn't matter. Read them every day before your feet hit the ground getting out of that bed. That would be my
Wow.
number one thing.
Jenna has been on an incredible weight loss journey. So she's going to share her story with us. And also you founded a great online community, Getting Closer Every Day. And I'd love to know more about that actually. Like you
Sure.
started that during your own weight loss journey, right?
Yes. So I had lost 140 pounds back in 2013 and 14. And I just wanted to have that. I had such great support, and I wanted others to have that support. So, every time you have to go to somebody, or you like, it's great to tell people that you're wanting to lose weight. But if you go to your husband or your sister or your friend, you're like, I'm going on a diet again. I need your support. And then maybe you fail or you bounce back and forth. It becomes really cumbersome and embarrassing and just hard for you to stay motivated. So I wanted a free space for people always to be able to come to have what they're dealing with other people with the same issues. So I wanted them to have that support. So we have free tools in there. We have the most amazing people in our group. It's so fantastic. We've had virtually, except maybe one person back in the day, where it's just a kind group where somebody can come in and say something that maybe is not so positive. And I'm happy to say that that one person is now an admin for us and does amazing things. So it's like a full circle. But this community is so beautiful because it really encompasses what support is, kindness is, and helping people get through not just weight loss, but just everything wellness. We have, sadly, life happens and people are
Yeah.
getting through cancer or lost somebody or something tragic. And this is kind of a second family for everybody, in a safe place to like air it out and be supported and ask for help. So I love that we created this, or I created this. And you can go to gettingclosereveryday.com to find our free group. And it will always be free, always. It's something that I'm very passionate about to help others.
And communities are so powerful, just like surrounding yourself with people who are going through the same experiences. Like we see that also with our own Lumen community online. The people who
Right.
just express their concerns or share their success stories and help each other, stay accountable. And I think it's so beautiful to see that. Wow, so that's amazing, the work you've
Thank
done.
you.
You mentioned like just a little bit there about dieting and like losing weight and then, trying to restart a diet. I want to like know from you, like when you started this community, your own online community, did you come from an experience of like starting a yo-yo diet and then maybe you succeeded? And you're also a Luminer, like where did Lumen come into it on that journey?
Sure. So, I mean, I was successful in the past. I always needed to lose 10 or 15 pounds, but 140, no. That was something, and I was stuck for 13 years. So after I had my daughter, I just crash dieted and just it grew and grew and grew, and life stresses and all the things, trying to do it all, it just caught up with me. And then you're stuck, right? And then it's hard to get motivated. So I don't feel like I really ever figured it out big time until I had this huge problem with the weight gain.
Mhm.
So having that support from family and friends, and really, I mean, putting on my sneakers and eating better really did it for me, and lifting weights. So, and then
Mm.
I had a scary surgery. I had a lift and attack when I was all done. I didn't know I was going to do that, but that was kind of my cherry on top. And then I decided, well, I had just started a new job, and I was having to need a hysterectomy out of nowhere. So 9 months after the first surgery, that I've never had a surgery before, I had this hysterectomy. And in post-op, it ended up in CPR. It's a whole nother
Wow.
story. I'll never know what happened. But I gained 20 pounds from that. And I was stuck with that for a couple of years. And then I would lose 10, gain 10. So thank goodness it didn't keep climbing, but it was kind of the same cycle. And then I came across Lumen. And the first month I used it, I lost 12 pounds. It
Wow.
was, and I didn't really know what I was doing yet, I must admit. Like I was in the diet plans, I was like just trying to get my numbers down. But I did notice when I fasted, my numbers were lower. And I started to kind of dissect that. So I was obsessed. And since I first started it, I mean, you guys keep just improving the technology. I
Yeah.
love the sound bites with the experts coming in. It's not
Mm.
overwhelming. I love the lives. I love that I can get quick tips and the food plan each day. You can say, you had a heavy carb day yesterday. You ate pretty late. And I love that it says not only what my macros should be, but also what my meal suggestions. So, I mean, bravo to Lumen because they really have figured out a cool way to engage and cover all of those. Um,
And you don't feel like you're on a restrictive diet like you did in the past, right?
no, no. I will say for me personally, though, the way I did it before was so strict.
Yeah.
And I noticed too, I need to figure out that balance. And sometimes
Yeah.
I don't have that strength. So until I get strong enough to be able to have one bite, that's my personal battle, unfortunately.
I think a
um,
lot of people have the same battle, but it's just
yeah,
like you said, finding the balance, right?
right.
How
Everyone
people
says, "Oh,
do.
just have a bite." And I was like, so many people can do that, but I'm like, "Oh, if I have a bite, I will eat all of that." So, depending on where I am in my journey and that month or year, I know when I need to be like, "Okay, we need to stop a little bit." And so rein it back in. So I know that about myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
With body composition, I mean, you've gone through, I mean, how many years did it take you to lose the 140 pounds?
148. I lost 100 in a year, and then I was kind of a little bit more lax. So the last 40 took about 6 months.
Wow. Does just naturally, does body composition change over time? Like, we're talking about midlife weight loss here. You know, does our body, biologically speaking, change? Do we see these changes and
So
should we be kind to ourselves about these changes? Give it,
I am a complete mess right now. I'm kind of like I've gone through mold toxicity in my body. I'm like in the middle of that. Found some mold in my house and was having some reactions. So that's something that is working against me. I also am working with functional medicine doctor, and so we tested before I met her for menopause. And it's
mm,
kind of funny because I feel like I'm pretty in tune with my body. And some of the reactions to mold and menopause are the same. So
yeah.
anyway, my blood work said I'm not even close. I'm perimenopause because of age, but there's no way I have it. And then I was having some issues just being in my house and I couldn't tell. And so I called my functional medicine doctor and said, well, I think we should test because something is like retest, something is going on. And I like all the things. I just feel a little bit, out of whack. And the weight was coming on. And so long story short, they tested me and they said I was post menopause. So, which is so crazy. I'm like, did I miss it? Like, how did I miss this? And I guess it's, it'll continue to go. So I really feel like it's a hard time for me right now. I'm 50, just turned 51, and everyone says at 50, everything changes. And really, I hit that 50 number, and 3 months after I hit it, things started happening.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a struggle, and I know that I believe it's harder to get the weight off the older you get and when you hit this area that I'm in. So it's important to get ahead of it.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned a really good point. It's like, you hit these phases in your life that, for example, with menopause and
Mhm.
post-menopause, there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, we're going to have to face that time, go
Right.
through it, because our hormones are dictating a lot for us at that point, and with weight loss, and also for men, men are seeing declining hormones as well, such as testosterone, and that's going to also impact them. With women, we've got the estrogen and the progesterone and testosterone declining, and we're going to maybe find it harder to lose weight,
Right.
um, and maybe we need to incorporate different tactics, different strategies to help us maintain a healthy weight. But then this is where I think it's really important just to go, let's be kind to ourselves. these are my hormones. I can't do anything about them.
Right?
But whatever we can control, whatever we can change for the better, like our nutrition and our exercise, which you're going to share much more about how tweaked your nutrition and exercise during the
Sure.
time that you lost your weight. Then those are things we can control, right? We can actually do something about those. I wanted to actually kind of like go back in time and just get you to tell us, like, what was that turning point in your life that you decided to make a change? Like, where was it, like a split second where you're going, okay,
Oh,
I need to lose the 140 pounds? Like,
I
when
know
was that?
exactly. I was working at a company called Living Social, and I just was watching my team members crush their day. You know, we were making the best money of our lives. We were working remotely. And I saw them getting up at 5 in the morning and working out. And I was like, what are they doing? Nobody's watching. And I had just lost my like 20 pounds again. And so I didn't want to go back. And that's when I went to my boss, I engaged my team, and everybody was all in. I engaged my family and my friends. And I mean, I hate the saying fake it till you make it, but I really had to fake it till I made it. And I believed I could do it myself. And every little milestone was, a triumph for me. I think that when I thought I have to lose 150 pounds, like I couldn't do it. So the best thing for me is I was like, okay, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. That's my goal, 10 pounds. And then I would just knock out these 10-pound goals. And it wasn't overwhelming. It was less on my psyche. And it was achievable. And, I know we were just talking about menopause and all those things. And I think that accountability, even for myself, like I am relatable because I go up and down, and I'm in the stage where I'm up right now with menopause and all the things that we kind of were mentioning. And that could be my excuse, or I can just like buckle down. I know what to do. I did it before, and it just might take maybe a month longer because I'm older or whatever, and all the things. But I feel like don't let that be your excuse, right? Because what
Mm,
happens when you're 60, right? It's going to be that much harder, and then things get scary. I mean, this is not about looks. This is about being healthy,
yeah,
feeling good about yourself, being healthy from the inside out,
yeah.
and I feel like when you're that, you're just so much happier too. So it's just a win-win-win.
So basically, it starts with mindset, right? Having
Mindset.
a
Yes.
positive mindset. What was there anything that you did during your journey to sort of help, improve your mindset and stay positive? Were there
Oh
like
man.
little things you did, like reminders you set yourself?
I definitely had some champions in my corner cheering me on, and I was already doing work, and they were like calling me saying like, "Hey, what clients are you working with today? Oh wait, what did you eat today?" So I was really lucky. That's where the getting closer every day uh accountability group was so important to me, because I just feel like I just had people championing around my mission. And I feel like if I didn't have that, who knows if I would have made it. And everyone says, oh, no, you did the work. You did. And true, all those things. But I just had somebody cheering me on at all stages of the game. So that's what I wanted to develop for everybody else, no matter where they were, if they fell off, fell down 100 times, that we were going to be there to cheer them on through every stage of the game.
Yeah, and that's what we sort of preach here at Lumen is, you can fall off the track, but tomorrow's a new day. You
Yep,
can get back on. If you're having one of those off days, it's okay. We're all human.
100%.
Um, and yes, the macro recommendations we set for you, try and follow them. But if you're on holiday with your family
Right,
and you over exceeding a little bit on the carbs with the kids, it's fine.
right.
Tomorrow, it's kind of like, again, going back to like creating a balance and doing things that are going to make you happy, again,
Hmm.
make you healthy most of the time, but you know just being happy is so important on a health
It's
journey.
so important. And I think people know how they would feel if they were at their like estimated or happy weight. But it's like I feel like you're not only healthy from the inside out, but you start glowing from the inside out, and that really shows. And I think that should be everyone's motivation, as hard as it is. I also say, like, let's say you have to lose 50 pounds, like that's really hard to do. But it's harder doing what we're doing as yo-yo dieting and all the mistakes that we're making, and that's just years and years and years of compounded like mental abuse of like, I have to lose weight, I have to go on a diet, I have to do this, I have to do that. Where if you just like, okay, I'm going to buckle down for the next 6 months to a year, whatever your goal is, whatever it is, take it 10 pounds at a time and really achieve it, then you could really go to the balanced part of your life pretty quickly and live the rest of your life having the knowledge of what's working, what's not. So that's my biggest message. It's like, it's hard work, but it's so much harder doing the yo-yo.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of the, you know, luminers that have been on their journey with their Lumen device these past few months and years, they've gone from, the yo-yo dieting, it started with Lumen, and then realized, oh, I'm actually able to eat all three macros. The carbs are there, the fats, the protein. And I
Yep.
think going back to what you mentioned, like, with midlife, whether you're a woman going through menopause or a man, also seeing a change in hormones, is that, actually under eating can be problematic, because here
Right.
is the time when we're supposed to, do everything we can to preserve these hormones and actually fuel our body enough to sustain muscle mass. This is naturally declining our muscles as we're
Right.
aging. We're losing muscles. We want to do as much as we can to keep them and to keep our hormones healthy. So the protein and the fats and carbs, they're all healthy, but we need to sort of, again, intuitively carb cycle. And I think that's been a big eye opener for a lot of, probably also for you when you started
Oh
with your
yeah.
Lumen. Wow, I'm actually able to eat this amount. I'm able to
Right.
eat carbs, and the carb recommendations are super healthy. Actually, kind of sort of teaching you. The Lumen teaches you that actually carbs are good, but what type of carb are you eating? A lot of
Right.
us didn't
That's the key.
think about that.
That's the
Yeah.
key for sure. Um, for absolutely with the balance, I feel like any diet, as long as you kind of have that calorie deficit, you're putting the work in with exercise and movement, you can really achieve weight loss. There's so many ways to go about it. I basically did high protein, a little bit lower carb. I did not take carbs out at all. And every Sunday, I don't know why it was a thing, but I had to have like 2 pieces of toast with grape jam. And I remember like one of the guys I worked out with, it was always like, what? Like, really? And I'm like, yep, that's my thing. I want it and I'm doing it. So I didn't deprive myself of that. I also, a lot of people thought like I lost weight because I was so big fast. So, oh, she must have lost like 12 or 13 pounds. And I want to remind people measure, 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 because my weight loss was 1 month I lost 6 pounds. 1 month I lost 4 pounds. 1 month I lost 2 pounds, but my body was literally shrinking. And I don't think I might have had a 10-pound month, but most of it was between 4 and 6 pounds all the way through.
Wow.
Which actually is so much better for your body. It's less
Awesome.
stress. You're not aging yourself by losing weight so fast.
Yeah.
There's so many benefits to doing it that way.
Now, going back to with choosing better carbs and not being scared of any of the macros, eat all three. They all got amazing benefits attached to
Sure.
them. Uh, but are we allowed to have those days where we just want to vegetate on the couch, eat a little bit of junk food or the food that's not particularly healthy, but we love? Are we allowed to give ourselves these days?
I mean,
What
you
do
are,
you
depends on
do?
it depends on the person. I know if I gave myself that day right now, I would go off the rails. So you
Yeah.
really have to be in touch with yourself as far as like, okay, where am I mentally? Is this going to set me back mentally? Can I do just a bite? Or if I just really want to chill and have like whatever I want for a full day, and then I'm not going to have any guilt and I'm going to get right back on it, and you can do it. Yeah, sure, why not? Right? It's so funny. I had worked out with a trainer, and he told me, I was so good about like, not, I loved having martinis. He was like, go have a drink this weekend. Cause I was just like, I'm not going to drink very much during this journey. So that was helpful. But I did have some light cocktails.
Yeah.
And I remember he said, you know what? You've been so strict. I just want you to go enjoy. I heard the weekend, but he said a cheat meal. So when I came back and worked out with him, I was like, "Oh my God, I had the best weekend." He's like, "What did you eat?" And I was like, "I went to the movies. I drank this. I ate this." And he was like, "Wait, what? Wait, no." And then he like almost had a heart attack, and he's like, "Okay, forget it. Let's just jump back in.
Yeah.
So I reeled myself back in. I heard him wrong. Maybe I wanted to hear him wrong. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, but you just have to be careful. You really have to know yourself. And so for
Mhm.
myself in my stage right now with all the things that I'm vulnerable with and dealing with, I know that that would be a very bad setup for myself. But in general, yes, I think that you can get to it. You can do that. That's normal life. Things you should enjoy life. You should be enjoying these
Yeah.
things. You just need to know how to reel yourself back in. And depending on what your weight loss goal is and how fast you want to get there and how hard, I think how hard you're going to be on yourself or if it's going to push you back the other way. That's what you have to be really careful about.
I find actually from personal experience, actually logging my food, especially on the day that I feel like I'm going to have like a cheat meal. And I hate
Mhm.
saying cheat meal because it's
But
just
it
sounds so
kind of
negative,
is,
but we all
right?
need to have it. But on the days that maybe I have a cheat meal, I actually do log my food on my Lumen app and just to see, okay, how much am I reaching with the carbs that I've been recommended? And just it kind of helps me stay accountable. Like, okay, then
Yes.
tomorrow let's focus on the protein and maybe go a little bit less on the carbs. Today, okay, I'm going out for dinner, I'm going to have that cheat meal. But just logging it, it's like, again, it's feedback. Okay, this is what I'm doing. And then
Yes.
those measurements of my lumen, if I don't see the fat burn, okay, then it sort of sinks in. Okay, that's because I completely overdid it on
Right.
the extra large pizza and the chocolate ice cream that followed it. And this is why I'm not reaching fat burn. And then it kind of makes you think, okay, let's do less of that, but still do
Right.
it every now and again. So I feel like there's those sort of habits that we can do, like logging our food, that can go, a long
Absolutely.
way.
So it's so funny you say that. So that's definitely how I did my journey. I logged everything, good days, bad days. And just yesterday, I got a badge from one of the apps I use, and I use Lumen too now. But I had said 700 days in a row of logging, and I had switched apps. Like I do not vary from that. And so many people say, "Oh, I eat great. I eat great, Jenna. Like I eat this, I eat that." But they don't realize that they're eating, way over their calories or way too much sugar or whatever it is. So that's like my number one tip, of course, is to track, track, track. Knowledge is power, right? So
Absolutely.
it's so important. That's what I love about the Lumen. It's just it gives you so much data. I am a data driven girl, like with everything in my life. So this does not change anything with data for me. I think that if you have if you could see the power of that tool and anything, like it's not like the magic wand, it's going to get you 10% closer to your goals, right? It's going to help you be engaged. If you're doing all the things, you're adding in like maybe a favorite pair of workout shoes. I bought a Lululemon jacket. They only go up to size 12 when I was almost 300 pounds.
Wow.
One of my bosses, I was in Chicago and I remember it was like, I was like, I'm buying this and this is my motivation and I'm going to work on it. I looked like I was in a scuba suit. It was hysterical. And then it got, lost the weight and I was walking in Chicago and it was kind of mangled. I mean, it's like a year and a half old and it's hanging off of me. And my boss at the time, we were walking to Flywheel, cycling class, and I told him that story, and he was like, "You need to get a new jacket that is like hanging off you, the whole thing." And I
Wow.
told him, and he was just laughing, and he's like, "I cannot believe you just told me that, and I can't believe that was like I just wanted to fit into their clothes, and I wanted to know what that felt like." So I feel like when you're doing all the things, you're buying the clothes that you want, maybe not that tight, but you're buying the things. You're doing a beauty treatment or a massage or a pedicure. Using your Lumen, just all you're taking supplements. All these little things add up when you're
Yeah.
doing all the right things to push you over the edge, for
So,
sure.
so those, so you mentioned like little things. So when you started your journey, often people set these goals that they're unlikely to achieve. They're just huge goals.
Right.
Did you start with very small goals? Like how small were your goals, or did you start with like, okay, I
No,
mean, you bought the jacket, which was probably a few sizes, too small, but fair enough.
I
But
was like
like,
a size 22 or 24. Who knows? And I'm buying a size 12. I mean, just to show you, it's so
and,
crazy.
fair enough. But with habits though, the actual habits or what you were doing, did you start very small, like incorporating little
Oh, yeah.
little changes?
Little changes. I just started cutting out more of like the bready stuff, and my carbs were coming more from vegetables. I'd never tracked food before, so I started tracking food. put on my tennis shoes and start walking after I was eating. I mean, I wasn't doing these things. I was very sedentary. And then just like writing down my goals for the day and then reading them before my feet hit the ground became a ritual. So
Mhm.
I really became, that wasn't quite at the beginning. I would say them, but then I got really good about saying my three things for the day, write them down, and maybe it's even for the week. But then it was daily, and I'd write them down the night before, and before my feet got hit the ground, I would read those, and just like that would be the pace of my day. So that really stuck
Wow.
with me. Yeah.
And with going to back to sort of exercise, how how did that change? You mentioned like adding in the steps, right? Like initially,
Sure.
how
Sorry,
did
this is
your
coming hard.
exercise routine like change from the start to now? Did
Oh
it
my
change
goodness.
drastically?
Well, I remember I worked out with a trainer, and you don't need a trainer to lose weight, but it was a nice person to touch, to be accountable to, and show
Yeah.
up. And he was really great. But I remember like on the wall, he was like, okay, we're gonna do wall exercises. And like I'm always like, no weights, nothing. And I mean, he knew better than me. He saw my size, he saw all the things that I was not capable of, and I didn't even know because I was very athletic growing up. I
Mhm.
played tennis, I taught tennis, I did all these things. And I just thought, I got this. And when he was done with me doing body weight for a couple months, I mean, it was hard. And then obviously I graduated up and I was doing everything in the gym. I walked when I got home. I walked everywhere. It was like therapy for me. And then I was a sales girl. I'm always a sales girl in marketing. And I would just, instead of just dialing from my house, I literally would make 25 calls, write them down, who I was calling, what I was talking about, start packing a lunch and just going. I mean, it was a win-win. I was crushing it at work. I was crushing it in my personal life, like all of it. So
Wow.
things like that really helped me. And I do a lot of that still. I'm like, it's time to get outside. As long as there's no tornadoes, I walk that day. And everyone's like, I think it's gonna rain. You should go home. But yeah, I'm really a big walker, and I just think movement is huge, not only for weight loss, but just for your body and your soul and your mind. It really
So
did.
around your meals, what are the top three things that you've reduced?
Reduced. I
Yeah.
reduced carbs. I
Hmm.
reduced sugar to, and I would eat an apple a day. An apple has between, depending on the size, 17 to 21 grams of sugar. And I was usually around 6 or 12 grams of sugar unless I had an apple. I really kept it low. So I started going back on the apple. Like some people are like, oh, you can have so much fruit. Just I don't agree with that. I mean, fruit
Hmm.
is good if you're going to go eat something terrible, but sugar is sugar.
Yeah.
So you have to be really, really careful about how you view sugar and fruit and not to put too much in your, like somebody will come up to me and say, oh, I put a cup of this of strawberries in my smoothie, and then I put protein powder, then I put 2 teaspoons of peanut butter, and then I put chocolate niblets in it, and I'm like, great, you had a 900 calorie smoothie. Like, how was your ice cream? You have to
Yeah, true.
really, and I did these things. Like, I had to learn
Mhm.
how to do all these things. So that's why
Yeah.
tracking is key to everything. I feel like knowledge is power. You have to know what you're putting inside your mouth. And like, sure, like if you're watching macros and you want to have a Snickers bar, go for it. And the rest of the day, you can figure out what you need to have. So I'm not saying you can't balance like that. But for me, adding in those desired treats too often or at all would make it become more often
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. And then the other, so sugar, carbs, and oh, alcohol. I limited my
Mm.
alcohol. And then the three things that I did, like crushed, like eggs all day. And then I had a protein shake just as a sweet treat and maybe a poster pre-workout and chicken. I mean, good old chicken. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds boring, but you could do a lot of things. I never cut out cheese ever. Like I didn't even realize that that's something I should have. I mean, I had cheese on my eggs, cheese on my chicken. So it's like for me, I feel like if you have that thing, that one thing, but
Yeah.
you're fixing all these other things, then you should be able to balance that out.
So eating more, it sounds like you well, you've been eating a lot more wholesome food over processed food. I mean, even though it's more expensive where you are to buy wholesome food, but you have to find that way to make it work.
Gotta find a
And
way. You got to get out
um,
of your own way. Like there's things that we do. I mean, there's some people that absolutely can't, but like maybe there's a dress that you wanted, or maybe there's a movie night. And just if that was going to stop you from buying good food, because that's how tight money is, then you got to forego those things and figure out a fun way to do it, like
yeah,
a fun movie night at home and
yeah.
do the healthy food. Just anything you can do to make that work. And plus, it's an excuse, right? Like maybe not for some, but for others, like it's like, oh, it's so much, like we can all do it. So you have to balance like, is this an excuse or is this real life? And if, no matter what, like let's rechange the excuse and let's, reevaluate like how I can make my money last if this is a huge issue. And I think it's a lot for a lot of people. It's a huge issue.
So with the foods that you reduce, what have you included more of? And you mentioned a few now, but just like in the day, what do you eat a lot more of than
I
what
I still eat
originally?
I still eat a lot of eggs and I still love chicken. I don't know why I reduced my red meat during this
Hmm.
journey, but I don't really eat a lot of red meat and I love red meat. There's like I have nothing against it, but I reduced that a lot and I just think I'm a creature of habit is the biggest thing. I like just go and I'm like, okay, I love having eggs every day. I'm having chicken today, and then I'm gonna make maybe squash tonight with, you know, chicken sausage. But whatever it is, I have to enjoy it for sure. It
Hmm.
doesn't, I don't like to have like the whole bland diet. I definitely want to make food taste good. Like my husband, he's doing so good with his diet right now, and he is doing this shake that is a little bit of protein, a little bit of yogurt, and like veggie galore. And he's putting it in a Vitamix and he's drinking it. So it's really thick. And for me, I'm like, no go. And he's like, food does not need to taste good, Jenna. It does not need to taste good. You just got to do it. You got to just pound it down. This is survival. And like, that's how he's doing it. But I'm like, ew. I like want to enjoy what I'm eating. I want to like for me, I have to, I'm like I could do his shake, but I have to do less vegetables and thickness and maybe juice part of it and not have all the pulp. But he's not doing it like there's every like we both have different ways, but we're both getting to our destination. So everybody really has to play with it.
Do you still add veggies to your day? Like, do you eat more
Oh
vegetables?
yeah. So
Yeah.
he's inspiring me right now because I'm bad about it sometimes. But I did get a garden inside, like an indoor garden, and
Wow.
it's so amazing because it regrows. We didn't know this. We went on vacation and I had my sister-in-law cut everything off. I'm like, everything's gonna go bad. And when we came back, it all grew back. And so I was like,
Wow.
wow. So I've had 17 heads of lettuce out of two pods. So every week we're cutting it off. And so I'm eating more than I have, but I realized I had been really neglecting that lately. So that's my new, like, let's bump up the veggies and water, because
Yeah.
that's the best way to get full for anybody
Yeah.
who's just like really hungry or wants to get more of a calorie deficit or less calories. And when I lost my 140 pounds, I was eating between 14 and 1800 calories. And some days I ate 2200 if I like went over, but I was not eating 1200 calories. Like that is really real. Like I didn't eat 1200 calories or 1000 calories on a like off chance I would eat 1200 calories maybe once a month and the same with 2200 calories. It was really like 14 to 1800 stable. I was never hungry. And so that's really enjoyable about veggies, incorporating that stuff and water. So those are
Yeah.
things I need to. So he is inspiring me that way because he is like
Good.
make broccoli and he's doing those shakes and he's doing his protein and his fats and all the things. Like he's doing his thing and it's working. So
Yeah, it's important to have those people around you that are also, attempting to be, on a health journey and with healthy goals ahead of them because they do
yeah,
inspire you, right? And they help you stay on track.
absolutely. I
Um,
went to him and I was like, I need you to help me right now. So he jumped like right in. And then I'm
yeah,
kind of like, oh, great. I've lost a couple pounds and you've lost 30. So it's, which is really true. But I just like, I'm learning, right? Like I know what to do, but you need someone to sometimes lead you again. And so I'm watching him and I think it's
yeah.
great.
Now, finally, take home message for our listeners. What's your mantra? What's your take home message? About being on a health journey and staying motivated.
Sure. Anything is possible is my mantra. So when you're stuck and you are just like, I don't think I could ever be that or close to that or any of that, not true. Anything is possible. And tracking for sure, prepping your food, and write down your three things that you want to achieve and read those. If they're the same every day, or if you change them, it doesn't matter. Read them every day before your feet hit the ground getting out of that bed. That would be my number
Wow.
one thing, or my three things for sure.
Powerful messages. I'm going to do that quick now. You write those three things down tomorrow
Yes,
morning.
yes, three things. It really just sets the pace for your day, even if it's not
Yeah.
related to weight. Like it can be, work related, family related, health related, just get mindset. You can manifest anything. And if you put the work in and you manifest those things and you get your mindset, your mind is so strong. So when it's bad, it will really lead you down the wrong path because this is me. Like if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, I mean, anything, absolutely anything in life. So
Wow.
yeah, it's something I definitely like
100%.
to follow.
Wow. Jenna, thank you so much. This has been awesome.